move to game theory, so I can sort of set that behind. Okay? Number 4 said an electronic company takes over one of its suppliers in a merger. Okay? Is that an example of vertical integration, horizontal integration, co-integration, or conglomerate integration? So it's integration something, right? Okay? The way to think about vertical versus horizontal, a vertical versus a horizontal merger is, for whatever reason, the way people conceived it back when they came up with these terms was, if I've got Ford here, okay, if this is the supply chain, so Ford buys tires, so it's actually going to go this way, and these guys buy rubber. Okay, and then Ford actually is not allowed to sell directly to consumers. They have to sell to dealers. Does anybody know why they have to sell to auto dealers? They can't sell directly to consumers. Tesla's been running into this problem. These are lots of small mom and pop shops in lots of different states, and they all lobbied their state governments to say that big auto manufacturers cannot sell directly to consumers. They have to sell to dealers. So there are laws in all 50 states that make it illegal for car companies to sell directly. And Tesla's been getting into trouble on it. These guys would all love to get out of it, but that's the reason. Because who likes to go buy a car from a dealer? One person. Okay, so so then I've got, like, here's GM, here's Chrysler, here's Toyota, so on, right? If Ford buys a supplier, like if they buy something, if they bought Firestone or if they bought dealers, that's called vertical integration. Sometimes they call this backward integration, and they call this forward integration. Okay? Same thing, if a tire company were to buy a car company, I don't know why they would want to do that, but that would be forward integration for them. Horizontal integration is if Ford and GM decided to merge. Like you're buying somebody in your same industry. Okay? So the answer for 4, an electronic company buys one of its suppliers, what's that an example of? Okay, that's vertical integration. Conglomerate integration means I'm buying somebody in a completely different industry, and in fact, sort of the formal definition is, it's not only completely unrelated, so if there are economies of scope, remember economies of scope means that if there's 2 products, A and B, the cost of producing A plus B within one firm is less than the cost of one firm producing good A and another firm producing good B. This is called economies of scope. Okay? In econ, we call them economies of scope. In business and strategy, we call those synergies. I'm going to skip because number 9 is related. So that's an economy of scope. Economy of scale means that the cost per unit goes down as quantity of good A goes up. Like the cost of producing good A goes down as quantity of good A goes up. Cost complementarity, which comes up in number 9, is that the cost per unit of good A goes down as I produce more of good B. So you could think of this as the cost of producing, if good A is lawnmower engines, the cost of producing lawnmower engines goes down as I produce more weed whacker engines. And the idea is there is some machinery and process that I use in making lawnmower engines that I also use in making weed whacker engines. Okay? And like there's R&D and branding as well that I can use in one that spills over to the other. So this is why, so when you look at 9 says, which explains the existence of multi-products firms. Economies of scale does not, but economies of scope do, because you're better off producing A and B in the same firm than in two different firms. And so does cost complementarity. And so the answer to that is B and C. B and C, D, which says economies of scope plus cost complementary. Okay, yeah.
So is economy of scope like the total cost decreases, and then cost complementary is just cost per unit decreases? I just have a hard time distinguishing the difference.
Yes.
Okay.
No, these are related. These are related.
And then did you say if a tire company purchases a Ford company, that's a forward integration?
Yeah, but you could also call it vertical.
Okay.
Because it's moving along this, but they talk about backward and forward. Okay. In a conglomerate, so hopefully, when Disney bought Pixar, they're hoping this, right? In a conglomerate, you would just assume that there's no synergy. They're equal. If Coca-Cola owned a lawn care business and a travel agency, are there any synergies there? No. So in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, from World War II up to the 80s, there were a ton of conglomerates in the United States, and they're in all these tons of unrelated businesses. The whole corporate raiders, Ron Perlman, Mike Milken, all those guys in the 80s, the takeover artists, what they were doing is essentially breaking up those businesses into chunks that were related. There are only two conglomerates in America left. There's GE and Berkshire Hathaway. And right now there's pressure on GE to break up. So maybe only Berkshire Hathaway. Okay.